Man, this game sucks. Not really, but I wish it was that literal with its story plot. The Roboenza doesn't add much to the game, it's just an idea for the sake of being a story idea. Robots gone havoc because they got infected by a delicious infection? I wonder what happens if you left that for the cutscenes and not giving it to the player. I'm not saying it's a must, and in fact, Mega Man 10 is my favorite classic game. However, the wasted potential is there. The core idea could be converted into a core game mechanic and make the game a lot more appealing. The playthrough progression is the same as any other Mega Man game, so it's time for that to change, at least hypothetically. Let's see what happens when the Roboenza is actually involved in gameplay, with its technicalities and more importantly, with their bosses. The story goes the same, so let's roll it with the stage select right away. Not this one though, this one. I thought redoing the mag shots would be a cool touch. They are all looking at the player, similar to the promotion artwork of the game. In the difficulty options, easy mode is the same. Normal and hard mode are where things start to change. Enemies now will be shown having the Roboenza effect on in the stage, making them more aggressive. But an in-depth document about them is for another video. In normal and hard versions, a sparse amount of enemies will have the effect, like 1 or 2 per stage. For the bosses though, if you leave one from the roster till the end, so let's say Nitro Man, he will be displayed showing the effect, with static for the rest of the killed ones. Once you're done with the last one though, all of them will be shown in husks and glowing eyes, indicating that you'll see them later in the boss rush. I know that is so Sonic.exe creepypasta shit, but man, it just fits. The scheme is already ominous, so adding some unsettling aspects would benefit it a lot. Lastly, there is another difficulty I added, labeled as Infected Mode. In here, more enemies have the Roboenza, and every boss will have it on the start. The more bosses you defeat in there, the earlier the one left out gets angrier. As a result, he gets the Roboenza moveset early in the battle, with the exception of 2 bosses, but more on them later. You unlock Infected Mode by beating the game twice in normal mode and hard mode, so 4 times in total. I want to make sure that the player is ready for it, since it will have more changes in difficulty and thinking about level design too. Blade Man first on the list. As soon as his HP decreases by around 10 points, he will begin to emanate the Roboenza aura all around him, making his eyes seem lifeless. He begins by flying into one of the walls, then clinging to the ceiling, then the wall opposite of what he was clinging to before. Finally, he dives down to your level to slice you to pieces. He clings next until he reaches the peak, all of that in quick fashion. To give you both a moment to collect your breath, his next step would be to dangle from the ceiling for a little while. His following move would include firing a progressively wider arc of blades in 2 or 3 waves, a challenge to test your dodging skills. Returning to slashing is his next move to start the cycle again. It's been weird to me that Blade Man, a robot with swords for hands, does not slash you up close. Even if for once, like, come on man. Pump Man begins by floating the water level of the arena to the middle. Creating his water shield would be his next move. However, he will throw his handle at the player, manifesting that water shield to the handle as it travels. The water shield will spread in a usual fashion soon after the handle crosses the opposite side wall, returning the handle the Ringman way for a trickier approach. Pump Man will hype up his torso lid and emit intense water to the wall next to him to propel himself to the opposite wall, spreading another water shield once he reaches there. He does that twice, once under sewer water and airborne for the other time. He then jumps up high in the middle, summoning his water bubbles from across the border and in a clockwise way, forming a water shield to do the cycle again. Not my proudest one, since it feels like random shit go type of concept for me. However, utilizing the water to dodge tighter shots was my intention there. Remember when I mentioned those two exceptional robot masters earlier? Commando Man is one of the two. They have a special trait in which once they enter the Roboenza mode, they don't go all pissed off enemy character style. They keep it in control until you lower their HP a bit more, so they can lose their pupils later. I will explain why these two specifically once I get to the other one. Before his no pupils mode, his initial moveset will therefore consist of him jumping high in the air, firing 3 commando bombs on the ceiling above the player's location, which causes the explosion energy to fall on the player, then spread in trail form once they reach the ground. Once that is done, Commando will land without shaking the floor like he does, and rather stay on one corner, shooting waves of shockwaves continuously for your nimble skills. Once our military man is pissed off, however, his purple aura will intensify, then rocket himself to a ceiling level, hammering the floor, causing the shelter of the room to unhitch, summoning the sandstorm gimmick in return. It's a reason why he was shooting his missiles on the ceiling to loosen the hinges. The sandstorm doesn't tickle Commando Man whatsoever, but it screws up your movement. He gets one extra move. He launches 3 mines on the field to hamper your movement more. He'll be chilling until those mines explode, however, then he continues the cycle from earlier with the added mines. This is my favorite from all of this work that I have done. It just feels so mighty, man, like abusing your power to send out your stage gimmick. That's pure intellectual genius if I say so myself. Chillman starts by summoning fog in the arena. Same fog will be useful for him to hide. As long as he's not moving, he'll not be visible. Otherwise, a moving silhouette of him will display. Attempting to sneak up behind you, he releases a chilly force around him to freeze you. That will be his next move, so you gotta be fast since his agility is increased in here. If you get frozen, he will attempt to damage you with contact damage. If not, he will disappear in the fog for his following attack. He will emerge from the fog, leap into the air, and freeze the whole chamber, including you before summoning the hail. At that point, mashing your keyboards to break free and evade is needed. Chillman was a tough nut to crack, but I'm glad that the idea is operational, to me at least. Sheepman's infected phase begins by charging at you and leaping in the middle. While in the air, he will create a spark field that will shock you. Subsequent to that, standing in a corner, Sheepman discharges shocking bolts immensely, emitting wavy sparks traveling around in the process. Wrapping up the pattern, he enhances himself by grouping with more clouds, forming a thunderous cloud that follows your exact location to strike you in quick fashion. There are delays between each strike to make it fair and square, however. And speaking of strike... Strike Man Roboenza mode. To begin, he will rapidly fire 2 rebound strikers, one diagonally up and one diagonally down, whether above ground or when he is grounded. That provides him the opportunity to rush at you like an American foot player as his balls bounce about, attempting to hurdle you. If you fire him as he is charging at you, he will return the shots with heavier damage. If he catches you while charging, he will grab you and fling you into the wall, doing significant damage. Strikeman then chooses to go ball-in mode, morphing into his bouncy ball form and attempting to attack you with high and low bounces while traveling at a faster pace. Then he comes to a halt mid-air, rapidly spinning, suggesting that he is about to redirect his path and begin functioning similarly to his rebound striker. All of that in rapid speed. It's important mentioning that Strike Man only redirects weapons that it is not weak to, which include every weapon except Triple Blade and Wheel Cutter, which are his weaknesses. Yes, Robot Masters may have 2 weaknesses, and I have a video explaining all of their weaknesses here. Here is the second special fella of the group to couple with Commando Man. Nitro Man would attempt to hurdle your movement by leaving wheel cutters while he is riding on the ground and dropping also wheel cutters from above while riding on the dang ceiling. He is a bit faster during that, so calculated jumps are more required here. Once he enters the oh shit mood, he will jump up and boost his bike, rolling across all 3 surfaces for 3 rounds. On the 3rd lap, he will reverse his path to rapidly come behind you before leaping into the corner as he reaches safe ground. If he rams you when he is on super boost, you'll be flung in the air for a few seconds and take a lot of damage. Once that is completed, he will stand in either corner of the arena and begin launching 4 wheel cutters in rapid succession, leaving you to evade them so he can charge up and rest a bit before doing another super boost to continue the cycle. Okay, so why did I opt for Commando Man and Nitro Man as special? I wanted 2 pairings that represented power and speed respectively, to be a sort of a throwback to the double gear system. Only in this case it is intended to be foreshadowing it technically because it's MegaMan 10. Regardless, the concept of having 2 unique robots seems plausible to me. By the way, if any of those is left until last in infected mode, the Roboenza moves begin immediately rather than early in the fight. Finally, Solar Man. As Solar Man exhibits the Roboenza aura, he will float and hold himself high in the center of the arena, creating a large artificial sun. That artificial sun will launch those average-sized larger suns. The side sections of that large sun will blast them diagonally one by one, with the main one spewing solar blades along the center, for them to collide and create solar waves in the end. With this lasting 9 times, the fat sun shoots smaller ones until it explodes, resulting in a big solar wave that neatly ends at a safe level to prevent you from taking any cheap damage and let you hide in there. Also, fun fact, Solar Man was the first one I designed for the infected mode. It was so obvious to me as the sun that he should summon a larger one to make him even more badass. With the Robot Masters done with now, I believe we are set to proceed and move towards Wily. Huh, what's happening with the stay select screen?